Roosevelt Island's Cherry Blossoms Full Bloom Tour. April 16, 2024. I am riding the Roosevelt Island tram from Manhattan. The Roosevelt Island Tramway provides the most modern aerial tramway in the world, running every 7 to 15 minutes from 59th Street and 2nd Avenue in Manhattan to Tramway Plaza on Roosevelt Island. The Roosevelt Island Tramway provides amazing scenic views of Manhattan. It rises the height of 250 feet above the East River and be transported between Roosevelt Island and Manhattan in just 4 minutes. The 4-minute ride, which offers spectacular views to its passengers, has been praised in the New York Times as the most exciting view in New York City. The view is truly spectacular. For the price of a MetroCard swipe, it is worth the ride. It did not cost me anything since I have an unlimited 1-month MTA subway card. My video kinda blurry because of the smudgy glass window from the tram. Edco Queensboro Bridge opened in 1909. This cantilever truss bridge between Manhattan and Queens allows bikes and pedestrians. You can see the beautiful cherry blossoms along the Roosevelt Island's waterfront. Almost there. There are 2 trams available for passenger, which alternately travels from the Roosevelt Island back and forth to Manhattan. A brilliant engineering marvel. Signature welcoming art installation of the island, its RI initials. Roosevelt Island Visitor Center Kiosk, Tourist Information Center. The structural foundation of this bridge is gigantic. Finally, the reason I am visiting the island as it's known for in the early spring. Known for the top places to visit in New York City to see the cherry blossoms full bloom. Also, the view of Manhattan across the East River is spectacular. You can see the East Midtown Greenway. The East River is a saltwater tidal estuary or strait in New York City. The waterway, which is actually not a river despite its name, connects Upper New York Bay on its south end to Long Island Sound on its north end. It separates Long Island, with the boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens, from Manhattan Island, and from the Bronx on the North American mainland. looking at the view. Roosevelt Island is home to the three main varieties that can be found in NYC. These cherry blossoms include Okami Yoshino and Kwanzan. When it comes to these three varieties of trees, they all bloom at different times of spring. In general, you can find Okami blooms in mid-March, Yoshino in the first half of April, and Kwanzan at the end of April into early May. This beloved flower evokes feelings of happiness and nostalgia among Japanese people. The sakura blooming season is considered a time when something ends but also something new begins, graduating from school and entering the next stage of adult life, meeting someone new or saying farewell to others. Cherry blossoms hold elevated status in China, signifying love and the female mystique, beauty, strength, and sexuality. A lot of New Yorkers are visiting and having a picnic at parks with blooming cherry blossoms. Plus, it is 76 degrees Fahrenheit, a good weather to spend outside.
Roosevelt Island.
The island also
Springtime,
homes modern
April
buildings
2024.
such as Cornell Tech and Tata Innovation Center. Standing next to another
Roosevelt
distinctive
Island.
building, namely Bloomberg Center at Cornell Tech, this modern building is well designed and beautiful to discover when the sun hits its main facade in the afternoon.
That's the Queen side. And Long Island and across the East River.
Cornell Hills. Ed Koch Queensboro Bridge. Queensbridge Park, Vernon Boulevard, Long Island City across the river.
Roosevelt Island view of Long Island City.
Iconic Pepsi-Cola sign from
Iconic
Gantry Plaza
Pepsi-Cola
State Park,
sign.
Queens.
Across the East River. Ganda dito. Top of the hill at Roosevelt Island.
South Point Park.
Straker Memorial Laboratory.
Strecker Memorial Laboratory, CBG 603. The Strecker Memorial Laboratory is a small Romanesque stone building was once the home to groundbreaking work in understanding disease in the early 20th century. Funded by the Strecker family, for whom the lab is named, it was constructed in 1892. The first laboratory in the country devoted exclusively to pathological and bacteriological research. It also served as a support laboratory to the city hospital nearby on the island. In 1907, the building was taken over by the Russell Sage Institute of Pathology. By the 1950s, it was abandoned. It was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1972. The city restored the building and the MTA uses it now as power conversion substation for the 53rd subway tunnel underneath. Smallpox Memorial Hospital, abandoned remnants of a former hospital, a nursing school constructed in 1854 in Gothic Revival style. Despite the availability of the smallpox vaccine, New York City still had large outbreaks of the disease due to the arrival of infected immigrants. Located on the isolated southern tip of the island in an attempt to quarantine patients, the hospital contained a large charity ward in addition to private rooms on the upper floors. In popular culture, the hospital was depicted in the 2002 Marvel Comics movie Spider-Man in the film's final battle. In the first novel in the Shadowhunters series, City of Bones, Renwick Smallpox Hospital was used by Valentine Morgenstern and other members of the Circle as a hideout. The hospital contained one of only two portals in New York City, which were both later destroyed. Ruins of a similar hospital feature prominently in the video game Grand Theft Auto 4, set in a fictional city called Liberty City, which is based on New York City. The site is also believed by New Yorkers to be haunted by ghosts and apparitions, or just pure imagination. Who knows, but it surely is worth the visit, a glimpse of the odd days New York. Next to the hospital is Franklin D. Roosevelt for Freedom State Park. View of Chrysler Building from Manhattan. A crude oil tanker marine vessel is passing the East River.
May barge. Dadaan siya sa East River.
Hey ship captain, careful not hitting the Ed Koch Queensboro Bridge. Cherry blossoms are in full bloom. Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi. It means vibrant scape of 1,000 cherry blossoms. Hana Washington Sakuragi, Hida Washington Bushy. Literally, the best blossom is the cherry blossom. The best man is the warrior is a Japanese proverb that originated in the medieval period. A lovely walk it is. The Roosevelt tram is doing its thing. Roosevelt Island tramway coming through. Amazing, feels like riding a flying car. Highly recommended. View from Eleanor's Pier. New York Presbyterian Office of Development Building. Cool modern building. Blackwell House is a historic house on Roosevelt Island in New York City. The house's name comes from Jacob Blackwell, who built the house in 1796. He was the great-grandson of Robert Blackwell, who in 1686 took ownership of what was then known as Manning's Island and subsequently became the island's new namesake. The Chapel of the Good Shepherd is a historic Episcopal church at 543 Main Street on Roosevelt Island in Manhattan, New York City, New York, United States. Designed by architect Frederick Clark Withers and built in 1888. Roosevelt Island Bridge connecting to Queens. Con Edison Powerhouse Building at 11th Avenue and 59th Street, built 1904. Few today notice the giant 1902 powerhouse at the foot of East 74th Street, or have heard of George H. Pickram, the engineer who designed it. But on the day he was buried, thousands of New Yorkers stopped in their tracks, literally. Tulips. John J. Brick House. The Marriage of Money and Real Estate, a group of bronze sculptures placed in the East River water next to the promenade. The sculptures, a set of playful, cartoonish figures, were created in 1996 and installed at this location in 2005. The Sanctuary Church, Roosevelt Island. Roosevelt Island Ship Pier. The Octagon. Socrates Sculpture Park, large-scale sculpture and multimedia installations in a park built on a former landfill site. Lighthouse Park, the most northern tip of Roosevelt Island. The Girl Puzzle Monument honoring Nellie Bly. A really interesting collection of sculptures. Some might find the large faces a little weird, but I found that they worked really well in contrast with the small lighthouse at the tip of the park. The mirror ball is particularly intriguing. This installation is duly inspired by Bly's incredible response to bigotry, which became her first published headline in 1885, The Girl Puzzle, and by her seminal work, 10 Days in a Madhouse, that shaped her life of dedication and empathy for others. On a monumental scale, faces of many women who have endured hardship, but are stronger for it. The monument gives visibility to Asian, Black, young, old, immigrant, and queer women. Their stories and lives are forever commemorated alongside Nellie Bly, whose face is cast in silver bronze, while the other 4 faces are cast in bronze. Each of them, rendered in partial sections that appear like giant puzzle pieces, show a depth of emotion and complexity of being broken and repaired. Above the waters of the East River at the northernmost stretch of Roosevelt Island shines the 50-foot-high lighthouse. It was built in 1870 to buy inmates of the penitentiary with stone extracted from the island. The lighthouse was designed by James Renwick, Jr., architect of the Smallpox Hospital and the Smithsonian Institute. The East River Channel's huge granite boulders made it very treacherous to navigate, so the lighthouse was commissioned as part of a solution for New York City's shipping ports, along with an Army Corps of Engineers project to demolish and implode boulders and widen and deepen the channel.
Dulo ng Roosevelt Island Lighthouse, springtime. Walang katao-tao.
NYC ferry passing through, definitely he checking the lighthouse. I admire the Con Edison building, probably because I'm an electrical engineer in profession. The best and most beautiful groups of cherry blossom trees in Roosevelt Island.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Ho ho ho!